Hello everyone, my name is Rachel Coy and I am an undergraduate student at the University of Utah, and my major is Anthropology with a health emphasis. Today I will give a brief introduction to the discipline, and then I will discuss and analyze writing within anthropology. If you are wondering what anthropology is, don't worry, you are not alone. Most of the time when I tell people I'm majoring in anthropology, they have no idea what it is. A short definition that I like is the science of human beings, or the systematic study of humans. The root word anthropos is actually ancient Greek for human or mankind. So there's some background on the word anthropology itself. The discipline of anthropology is not to be confused with anthropology the store. Anthropology the store ends in an IE instead of a Y, and while they do have some very cute, funky women's clothing, that is not what we are talking about today. Anthropology is a broad, holistic discipline, and it is generally split into 4 separate branches, which are cultural anthropology, biological anthropology, linguistics, and archaeology. And there is lots of overlap between these subdisciplines. And no one anthropologist would ever be an expert in all 4 of those branches. Cultural anthropologists study present-day, non-Western societies. I like the description of making the familiar strange and the strange familiar. They want to understand how non-Western societies live, what their values are, and why people behave the way that they do within those societies. Biological anthropology is also called physical anthropology. Those terms are used interchangeably. They focus their study on human evolution and contemporary human variation. There is lots of overlap with biology because, like biologists, physical anthropologists also study things like evolution, fossil records, and human DNA. In the bottom right corner, there is a picture of Jane Goodall, famous physical anthropologist and primatologist, known for studying chimps in Africa. Since we share ancestors with today's primates, we can study their behaviors and gain a better understanding of the evolutionary history of humans. Archaeology is probably the most well-known subdiscipline of anthropology, and that is mostly thanks to Dr. Indiana Jones, famous archaeologist. The archaeology is the study of human history and prehistory, and it is studied by excavating sites and analyzing artifacts and other physical remains to learn about humans that lived a long time ago. Linguistics is the study of human language and communication, and there is a lot of overlap with the discipline of sociolinguistics. People are, by definition, ethnocentric, meaning that you think your ethnic and cultural group is better than everyone else's. But in order to avoid bias, anthropologists approach research with a cultural relativism perspective. And this is very important. That means that cultures should be studied objectively and understood in terms of their own problems, constraints, and opportunities. Using this perspective helps to avoid bias in your research. And this is clear in the writing in anthropology because evidence is used throughout to prove one's point. The overall goals of anthropology are to answer the question, what does it mean to be human? And it gives us tools for understanding the diversity and the unity of the human race, as well as to apply this knowledge to frame and solve problems facing the entire world today. In order to be successful as an anthropologist, you will have to be able to write and write well. You have to communicate your ideas effectively and professionally. If you're looking for good examples of writing in anthropology, I would recommend the journal Current Anthropology. It is well respected in the discipline, and it is a very good resource to have. It is where I got most of the articles that I analyzed in my research. The layout of articles in anthropology are very similar to articles written in other academic discourses. The layout is generally in columns, and that helps to keep information organized. And the author's contact information is usually included, and it will usually include their contact information, their education, their place of employment. And by providing all of this, it establishes ethos and it gives the author more authority. There's also subheadings throughout the body of the paper to keep things organized and on topic. There are also graphics used throughout the paper to present data that was gathered by the researcher, and I will explain that more in a little bit. APA format is used to cite sources in text, and this establishes authority and looks professional and is well respected within all academic disciplines. The style of writing in anthropology is very formal and professional, and writing in this style establishes ethos and gives the author more credibility. I like to think of anthropology as a bridge between the social sciences and the hard sciences, because the content of the writing is based on a social science. Anthropology is in the College of Social and Behavioral Sciences. But the way that they present their information is the same way that is in the hard sciences, like chemistry, biology, or physics. The information presented in anthropological writing is presented in the same academic tone as the hard sciences, and this definitely gives anthropology more authority as a discipline. Language usage in anthropology will be slightly dependent on which subdiscipline you're writing in. The examples listed may be used throughout all of anthropology, but they are especially relevant in cultural anthropology. When you're reading a published article in anthropology, it doesn't feel like you're reading a novel. The text is packed with lots of data and information, followed by an analysis of the data. This is the same format used in all scientific writing. Evidence is presented, and then conclusions are drawn from that evidence. Any emotion-based language is taken out entirely. In order to be taken seriously in anthropology, you have to be as unbiased as possible, and you can show that you're not biased by using academic language and by backing your observations up with evidence. In my research, I noticed the most common form of evidence used was statistics. It is especially common in cultural anthropology, however, it might be less needed in other subdisciplines. Statistics is a way to catalog observations made about different groups being studied and to explain the significance of those observations. The charts and graphs in the text give visual proof of the data gathered at the same time the data is being analyzed. If you look at the bottom left picture, you can see where I've circled the values included within the text, and these values are used to explain observed phenomena, and they give the author more credibility as a scientist and an academic researcher. Well, hopefully this presentation helped you gain some insight into the field of anthropology and gave you a better idea of how anthropologists write and why they write the way that they do. Thanks for watching.